All right, folks. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning. This is Sean, brother. Um, First of all, it's been a couple of days. I want to try to do these regularly for you guys. Because of really weird habits, antics, and isms. Yes, I do have autism, as you guys can see. And the whole point of this channel is to show you guys what it is to live with autism. Okay. Now, the reason for this specific podcast is because I didn't really grow up with smoked meats. I grew up with cooked and grilled meat, but it wasn't smoked. Now, some will argue, well, if you're grilling, it's adding smoke to it. No, 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 no. It's the flame that's cooking it, right? So, whatever is on that grate that's on there, that's what's giving it the flavor and the seasoning and the marinade and all that good, yummy stuff going on. Okay. So, now that you have that out the way, and now that we're understanding of all that sorts, let's move forward. Okay. So growing up for the past so basically from year 0 when I was a basic fetus up until the age of 32, okay? That's about how long it took us to discover smoked meats, okay? Now I'm not saying I've never had anything smoked since then, but what I'm saying is actually doing the smoking, okay? We always grilled chicken, we always grilled ribs, we always slow cooked pork. We never had brisket before. We always cooked sausage on the grill, we always cooked it in the oven. We always had oven cooked or grilled food, okay? Um, yeah, I live in somewhat of the South, so we always grilled stuff. We never, quote, barbecued, right? Now, I'm gonna give you some big ish because a lot of you people, okay, it's a personal ish to me. You call barbecue grilled chicken. The whole point of barbecue is the flavor of the meat itself, okay? When you grill, you're taking the flame and the marinade to give it flavor. In barbecuing, like barbecue pork, barbecue ribs, barbecue chicken, the flavor is coming from the meat itself. Okay. So that's why there is no real um, marinade. That's why there's no real thing that you're adding to it. The only thing you're doing, essentially, if you want good flavor, is to take your rub, is to take your seasoning and just sprinkle it like salt and pepper. Folks, if you're not adding salt and pepper to anything, you're not cooking. You're just heating it. That's it. You're not cooking it. Cooking is the act of heating with flavor. Okay. Now you're going to come at me with a dictionary of, that's not what cooking is. I get it. But I'm trying to separate an idea and a concept here. Cooking is with flavor, is with no salt, no pepper, nothing. Just the meat, just the food, just the item. Okay. Smoking does not have a lot of flavor. Where the flavor comes from is the seasoning you're adding onto it, which enhances the flavor of the meat itself. I don't know if you guys know this, but the meat itself has gigantic amount of flavor. But if you don't enhance it, it's not gonna get its flavor. Like if you took rib, right? I'm sure it wouldn't taste good because it would probably kill you if you ate it raw entirely, like not even cooked one even bit. Okay. But you could slightly get some flavor. It wouldn't be like, oh, I gotta have seconds and thirds and fourths and fifths. Do you get my drift? So the rub is giving the meat and the fibers, okay, the layers, all that goodness. So when it heats up, it expands, okay, because that's what's happening when you add heat, it expands, right? That's why a tire on a car, when it's cold, it's small, right? That's why your pressure light goes off when you have ample air because it's cold, it shrinks. Okay. This is a really weird analogy, folks, but please stick with me. Okay. Take a balloon or a beach ball. Okay. And inflate it. Now tie the balloon up. All right. On a normal spring summer day. Now, tell me how long it takes for it to stay fully inflated. Okay. It's going to take a little while, right? Like when you have a birthday or a celebration, it's going to take you a couple days for it to start to see wear of the air or helium inside of the inflated balloon. Same with a beach ball. If you inflate, it's going to stay inflated during the summer, during the winter, the summer, spring season. Now, during the winter time, inflate it and wait a day. You're going to see it become somewhat partially deflated because the molecules are not moving as fast. They're not moving quickly. Okay. So that's why when you cook during the winter time, it takes longer for your heated cooking supplies to heat up longer because they're not moving as fast. That's why in the summertime, your grill gets up to temperature pretty quickly because it's already warm outside. The molecules are somewhat moving at a more rapider. I know that's not a word, but let's forget about it. Let's move past that. More rapider, okay? And then when you cook, it gets even hotter, so they start moving even quicker, okay? What does that now have to do with anything? I guess it didn't really make sense to you, but the point I was making essentially is that if you have no seasoning, no flavor, when you leave it in there, the seasoning wouldn't just give all of the meat its flavor, right? It has to soak in, it has to um enhance the layers of tissue, all of them, okay? But what you're really after is the top layer, right? You want to get all the layers, but you're really after the top layer because if there's no flavor on the top layer, you will have nothing in the middle layer. Okay? So, that's what we discovered when we were cooking. We were just seasoning like foods, like shrimp, and we were seasoning chicken, we were seasoning steak, all this good stuff. Okay. Then fast forward to about the age of 34. Okay. This is right around when I think COVID was around, right? And it was a while. There wasn't a whole lot of going out to eat. There wasn't a whole lot of, oh, I got to go to the store and get snacks. Like we pretty much weren't around anywhere. So we had food in the freezer, like, I don't know, meats and stuff that you could eat. And we had a cabinet. And we had bought the cabinet, a few years back and was like, oh, we're going to so use this. This was like a big Christmas present for us. And we never really got around to it. So during COVID, we decided we're going to smoke some stuff. We're going to smoke some fish. We're going to smoke some lobster. We're going to smoke some crab legs. We're going to smoke some stuff. I know it's weird to start off with that, but eventually it led to us with pulled pork. Okay, pork shoulder butt, right? Pork butt. Pork butt. Um, anyways. um, act your age, Sean. Act your age. Act your age. Got it. Uh, so we moved on to pork shoulder, and we had one of our first batches, and it was interesting. I got to be honest with you. It was somewhat tough because we really didn't understand the value of heating it at a lower temperature, as in the whole theory of low and slow. So I cooked it about 250 and then I dropped it down to about 150 closer to the time we were eating. And then I'm like, okay, it's time to go. Meaning it's time to pull it out. It's time to pull it apart, right? It's got good color, but I didn't understand that collagen had to break down, get loose, right? Okay. This is going to be a bit graphic for you guys listening, but stick with me. Hear me out. You guys know when you get older, your skin is going to sag. Your eyes are going to have eye bags. Your face is going to sag. Your thighs are going to sag. Do you know why? Because the collagen in your skin acts as a piece of tape that you're pulling in all different directions, like, "Ugh," right? You see that? I'm basically putting my hands on my eye sockets and stretching the skin around it, right? Not too long, not too tight. But you can see my eyes and the skin bulge out, right? But I'm not doing it on purpose. I mean, I'm not doing it with my own face. I'm doing it with my hands. The act of the hands is the collagen pulling and tightening the skin. Okay. When that happens to be cooked a lot, what happens is eventually it gets loose, and I'm guessing it dies because it's part of your DNA, right? It kind of dies away and fades off. And so your skin sags. That's why you get eye bags. That's why you get saggy cheek fades. That's why you get, you know, flab around your neck. That's why you get flab around your, shoulder. It's why you get flab around your biceps. It's why you get around your forearms. Okay. That's collagen. Now, what's this have to do with smoking? When you smoke, you have to break down the collagen. Collagen does not take 15 minutes to break down. Okay. Remember how long it takes your body to break that down? Your body is not rapidly breaking it down. Cr- um it's chronically over a long period of time breaking it down. Okay. Now, when you get into about your 60s, your 70s, that's when it's visible because no longer it's no longer capable of it. All right. Now, for you visual learners and for you visual people, okay, picture this. You're on a cliff. Your best friend is on the edge of the cliff. They're trying to get up onto the cliff, but they're hanging on. Their muscles are keeping them up there. Now, you reach out, grab their hand, and so you have extra support, okay? Because your muscle and their muscle is a good support system, okay? Now, unfortunately, they're a bit heavy. So what happens is you start to lose your grip and you start to slip towards the edge of the cliff. Now they're falling, but they still have you. Okay. So the analogy here is your grip is the meat, the top part of it, trying to hold itself from getting weak. Okay. Now, what ends up happening eventually, they're going to start slipping, right? This is the visual here. They're going to start slipping. Now, all I have left is my hand in their hand or their palm before I fall off. And then eventually what happens is I get closer and closer to my tips, and I'm done. Okay. The point that they get past the knuckle where there's no give, where there's no hope, where it's just a matter of time before it's done, before your friend lets go, that's at the very end of your smoking of the collagen. Okay. The collagen is like, all right, I'm done. And then when you go and take it inside and let it cool down a little bit because it'll break down even more, when you start to take your claws, your hands, and you go in there, that's the noise it basically makes. Like, that's the noise that I would hear. Okay. I know you guys are like, what the front door? All right. But that's the sound of the noise it makes. Okay. When it's that point, the collagen is already broken apart. Okay. There is no tension between you and your best friend hand or forearm. Okay. It's just like it's loose. It's loosey goosey, right? There's no hope. It's like you holding on for their hands, but you have no more strength because you've used and wasted all your strength in trying to keep from falling. Your body has strength, but eventually it doesn't have enough. It can't have an infinite amount of energy and strength, okay? Because eventually it'll just fall, okay? Right? That's why when you put your hand up, after a while it starts sagging and sagging and sagging, and you can't do it until finally it falls down. That's what collagen is like. When you're cooking it, you're breaking it down. You're breaking down the strength of it being held together, okay? That's what you want. That's why you have to be patient. And that's the whole part and the whole title of this podcast is cooking patiently. So, I started this cooking of this pork that I'm doing tonight. I started that yesterday at 6:30 p.m., 18:30 military hours. Okay? I took it out of that freezer that's back in our garage that we use for a secondary holding spot because there's no way we'd put a full rack in the freezer and, fridge and all that stuff. So, I took it out. I took it in the sink around 4 o'clock, right? And I let it thaw. And as soon as I let it thaw, it was about 6:30, and it was basically warm enough, ambient temperature, to be able to mold with the plastic casing that the butchers shrink wrap on, right? That strong plastic that they keep all your meats and your butchered, meats and all that good stuff, like your pork, your, brisket, and your ribs and all them, that really thick shit stuff. Sorry. I'm trying to be good about not cursing because this isn't really not meant for kids, but this is supposed to be for a regular general audience. Anyway, um, so I removed the casing, the plastic casing, around 6 o'clock, and I took the seasoning and I prepared the actual rib itself, and then I sprinkled the seasoning onto the rub, and I rubbed it on, and it was pretty good. Now, would you guys like to see what the rub looked like? Now, for you people that are listening, I'm gonna do my best to explain this, okay? What I ended up doing was I ended up taking a blend of 3 different kinds of spices and rubs, and that's how I got my flavor, okay? So, having had said that, okay. This, for you people watching, is what it looked like, okay? I need to drop down the brightness of the screen so it works better. Okay, that's what the color looks like, folks, okay? Alright, so, before I took it out, it basically let me go back, because I sent my best friend a image of what it looked like before we cut it. Okay, maybe I did not. Never mind then. I thought I did. I apologize. Anyway, let's move forward. So, it looks different when you take it out of the casing, the little plastic package, as opposed to when you put rub on it and let it sit for an hour or 2 hours. Ideally, you wanna leave it for 12, because I stuck it in that fridge that's in there, okay, at 6:30 PM, like I was just telling you, okay? I woke up at right around 7 AM, and I gave it a little longer. You don't have to, but I did. And I got it around 11 o'clock, and I pulled it out of that fridge. And the image I showed you is what it looked like after 12 plus hours, was like 14, 15 hours. Okay. That's plenty enough for it to give it the color that I'm looking for. Now, if you look at the next part of that, I'm going to show you what the cabinet looks like. because I actually okay, this is what they look like afterward. Sorry. I hate this because it tries to auto adjust, and I see? I hate that. Yeah, see, it's auto adjusting. I'm sorry, guys, but the point is it looks like it has more color, okay? Now, that, like, sprinkled stuff on the top, that's the seasoning, and that's the crust. Now, what we in the barbecue, aka smoking, community and industry call that is bark. When it becomes a crunchy and hard surface that's not really part of the underlayer good part of the skin, right? The meat, that's what you call bark. Now, that's for presentation and it's good. But if you want bark, you got to have a good top layer of your seasoning to be able to get that bark, right? And also, you need to cook it longer. Like I'm talking 12, 14 hours long. Okay. And you can do that. You can actually get it with a Traeger too. But we don't have a Traeger. So we just have a smoking cabinet. But back to the whole gist of the podcast. So later on, right around 6, 7:30, I'm gonna end up pulling them out of the smoking cabinet. I'm gonna show you what they look like. Now, I'm not really gonna spritz it. You should, but I'm not because it has enough flavor and juice to be able to do that. And I like mine with dry rub. I don't really like mine with sauce and stuff because if you have enough flavor, you don't need to have sauce and all that lather and stuff. Plus, it's not a very thick cut. Now, if it's a thick cut like brisket and pulled pork, like barbecue pork, you're gonna need to spritz it every now and then so it doesn't become dry, right? You don't want that dry chicken, that dry white chicken type of texture and taste when you start even trying to break it down, right? You want that to happen at the very, very, very end of your meal, not when you start to eat it. You want it to be juicy. So give it that moisture, give it um that flavor, that liquid, right? That help to boost with that liquid. Don't do it every 15 minutes. Do it every, I don't know, 2 hours or so and just check up on it. All right. Now, you're also going to need to get you a thermometer. Thermometer is your best friend because you need to check up on it. The smoking cabinet is at 250, but to eat it, it needs to be 165 at the minimum for it to be USDA approved safe to eat, right? Otherwise, they're going to say, no, it's not. Okay. The FDA and USDA. Okay. Now, if you want to eat it at a different temperature, it's up to you. But you should cook it to about 170, 175 if you'd like. All right. That way you're sure and it'll even cook longer for enough to enjoy it and break it apart. Okay. But for this specific meal, we're just wanting the color and the food to fall off the bone. What we'd like is we'd like the bone to be twisted a quarter of a turn and pull right out. That's how we know the collagen is broken down. Remember that analogy we went back to with the hand and the best friend and the balloon and all that stuff? When it loses the rigidity of being strong during the wintertime, right? This, of course, being the balloon in the beach ball, but the whole friend with the strength, okay? When you get to where it pulls right out, the collagen is pretty much gone, right? It's broken down into like a bajillion gazillion pieces. There's no way that those pieces have any rigidity in them. When I first started with the raw meat, all that collagen was like a big one single piece of collagen, right? It was like, dear life, you're not letting go. Okay. That's how hard it was. Now It's about 3:30. I put it in about 11:30. So it's about 20 pieces at this point. Like it's breaking down, but it's not broken down as much as I'd like. We have to keep cooking it for it to break even more. Okay. So, um, we so far, and I say we because me and my dad, we basically smoke them together, and we're learning, different things with one another. I'm learning to be patient while he's cooking his. He's learning the seasonings and the basically the portions of the seasonings when I'm cooking mine. Um, he's learning the times to throw them in, which is best from me. I'm learning the cuts and the excess to cut off from him. Okay. So we're kind of like a team, basically. So we do this together. So we've smoked brisket, we've smoked pork, we've smoked crab legs, we've smoked lobster, we've smoked fish, we've smoked chicken. What else have we smoked? The only thing we haven't smoked yet is sausages, which is weird, right? Because you'd think that'd be easy. We haven't done that yet. We don't have a sausage casing mechanism, like that stuff that's the skin that you fill ground beef and all that stuff to make your sausage. We don't have that machine, that little cranking machine. Yeah, we don't have that. So we just don't have the counter space nor the real reason to have that because I'm not a big fan of sausage. He's not a huge fan of sausage. So there's no point in buying one machine to do one task for one specific want and purpose. So we pretty much said, heck with it. We're not going to get it. We can go buy it if we want it, but we're not going to do our own. Whereas, like, we'll go to the butcher shop and get pork shoulder and put it together our own from scratch, right? Same with the ribs. We'll have it, basically butchered and prepared and shrink wrapped and all that good stuff. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much that regard. Uh, what do I plan on doing from here? Well, I plan on trying different techniques. Plan on cooking different styles. I plan on um, smoking a lot of other things that you probably couldn't smoke. Like at this point, I'm just trying to find out what you can't smoke because we've done crab legs, did an awesome job. We've done fish, done an awesome job. We've done chicken, we've done pork, we've done beef. I don't think you know what we have done steaks before. We had did turkey. We did this last Thanksgiving. If you go watch my regular channel, I did a video on a plate, and I did a video on a small little family review type thing of my plate of chicken with the smoked turkey and the regular turkey. Now, I love smoked turkey. Do you know why? Because essentially, when you smoke it, do you know what it tastes like? It tastes like holiday ham, like holiday honeyed ham, that really thick cut, the glazed honeyed ham. Oh, so good. So freaking good. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. I didn't really want to make this a big podcast because I kind of wanted to tell you guys a little story and, explain how smoking is done and how cooking is done and grilling is done and how cooking, grilling is not the same thing as smoking. Smoking is just putting it in a cabinet or a grill and leaving it alone for hours, right? Like I put it in there at 11 o'clock. I've done all my chores, I've done all my things I need to do, um, all my responsibilities. And I even went out, got ice cream today. I went out, got some coffee, and I still haven't even peeked at. Well, the only time I peeked at it was to make sure it was the right temperature, right? Which was a little bit ago from my video I shot for you. Go check it out, by the way. It'll kind of pair well with this video. Um, and I literally just did it like 15 minutes ago from the start of when this was done. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. I don't want to keep talking nonsense and all that garbage. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and sign out from here. But later on, I will talk to you all about what it looks like when you grab it out of the smoker. I'm gonna do a live video for you, hoping that my phone, because that's what I'm using to shoot the video on a mobile. That's why I went ahead and had you guys subscribe to my channel so that we could do this mobile thing. Eventually, what I'd like to do, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. So, I would like to go ahead and add a second line to my carrier service, a mobile Wi-Fi device. So instead of using 5G, because guys, every time I connect out, in public or whatever, it always tells me it's reconnecting. Now, I suspect it's because of the bandwidth I'm using when I'm doing them. I'm using an iPhone 12 Pro Max, so yeah, I don't have the latest one. I was financially because of that, but yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get you guys a wireless connection point. I mean, I do have my own hotspot, and I don't have a secondary phone, so I don't have the capability of doing that. I probably could if I go onto the marketplace, which I may. But I'd like to go ahead and give you guys better quality videos, better quality service, and all that good stuff. Because I mean, yeah, it's fun to talk to you here when I'm home with this whole setup, this whole mic setup and all this good stuff. But you guys wanna hear me when I'm, like, in my element, when I'm in my zone. That's the whole point, right? And then eventually what I like to do, and it's gonna make me seem a little bit weird if you see me in public, but I think and I thought a lot of thoughts, okay, mentally. Now, for us people with autism, it's a whole spider web of things. And one of the things I wanna do is I wanna take you on a day from wake up to go to sleep of the thoughts, and maybe I'll do a late night version for you special subscribers of things I think of when I am starting to fade into sleep when I wake up. And just randomly so you can understand why sometimes it's hard and difficult to get through or to be social or for you to understand somebody with autism when they're in their real element. Because to be honest, folks, I'm masking my autism right now. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I am. If I was in my real element, it'd be a whole different story, trust me, right? There's a lot of things that would be ick to me. There's a lot of things like, for example, I'm having to deal with the fact that I'm in limited space, right? I know it sounds weird and I could probably fix that, but I'm dealing with the things that I have to deal with. But if I was autistic and I didn't want to just give no hoots about it, yeah, this would never be like this. Uh, would never be like that. All this good stuff, okay? I wouldn't exactly be, wearing what I'm wearing now. I wouldn't be, all prepped and, presentable. It'd be a whole different story, all right? So, yeah, that's the whole point of this podcast is to show you guys, that, having autism is not entirely stopping me from doing these sorts of things, but at the same time, smoking is a gift for me. I love to smoke. I love to smoke meats. I love to barbecue foods. And so it's my way of it's my vice. It's my vice when I'm stressed, it's my vice when I'm upset, and it's my vice when I'm sad. It's my vice when I'm excited, right? Because it extends it and I can't wait for the result. So, I'm going to end this now. I appreciate y'all sticking around. I like I said in the other podcasts, I know if you look at the timer up there, right, in your screen, it's about 30 minutes into it. I try to keep it under an hour. Some of them that are longer, I do for an hour so that you guys can really understand what it is to be like me. But these kind of ridiculous videos, I try to keep it about half hour, so we'll try to end off here. All right. Appreciate y'all watching. I will show you guys what it looks like here eventually when we get to taking the meat out from the smoker. So stick around, go watch my other videos. But until then, I'm Sean, the Toga Brother. I'm out.